What is the most utilized and can be the most dangerous tool used in our light industrial industry? Care to take a guess? I'm Marty with you here today at Warehouse and Operations as a Career. Today, let's talk a little bit about pallets. You know, pallets are everywhere. We're around them all day, every day, yet how often do we really think about them? You know, they're almost just an afterthought, right? Yet we have millions of pounds of product up above us in the racks, and we're working under that weight every day. I was thinking, the pallet has played a significant role in our modern material handling world since about the 1940s. In the 30s, a boxcar with 13,000 cases of canned goods would take about 24 man-hours to unload. And that same load today on pallets can be done in like 4 hours. I found a great article at en.lcn-pal.com, and they explain that in the early 1920s is when we first saw pallets and skids being used. Prior to this, wooden crates, boxes, kegs, and barrels were generally used in order to gather, store, protect, and move merchandise around. You know, prior to wooden pallets that we see today, skids were used, made up essentially of stringers attached to the top deck of wood appeared in American factories along with the first low-lift trucks. Stringers are those long boards on the outside of the pallet. Usually they're 2x4 boards, and usually one runs down the middle of the skid or the pallet as well. Anyway, and as we learned in another episode, around 1887 was that first rudimentary and manual, by the way, low-lift hand truck showed up, and then in 1909, the sleeker all-steel low-lift emerged. The development and sophistication of forklifts really helped increase the quantity and really the variety of the materials and products that could be handled. Our modern-day pallets started to evolve around this time, going from the skids to the wooden pallet. In order to facilitate the use of the forklifts, spacers were added in between loads, boards were added on the top of the stringers to actually make those skids. In time, boards were also secured to the bottom of the skids in order to actually create our pallet. The article told us that it was around 1925 when boards were attached to the bottom of these pallets, and boom, the modern wood pallet was born. Today we use a few different standard size pallets. You know how much I like Wikipedia, so of course I had to go there and check it out. It states that a pallet is a flat transport structure which supports goods in a stable fashion while being lifted by a forklift, pallet jack or jacking device, or possibly a crane. Now, while most pallets are wooden, pallets can also be made of plastic, metal, and recycled materials. You know, probably the most utilized, or at least here in the States, would be the GMA, or Grocery Manufacturers Association, which is the 40 by 48 inch pallet. I've seen the 48 by 48 inch pallets, handle those larger barrels and drums. And Wikipedia shares that the military and cement industry uses a 48 by 40. I find that a little odd, but hey. You know, here I see a lot of beverage pallets too, and those are usually the 36 by 36 inch pallets. Walk in, the different facilities like I do, I see so many different custom sizes. I guess you can have a pallet built for just about anything that you're producing or maybe you have a need for to store in your warehouse. I found this really interesting and really some good information on pallet grading at nazpallet.com. They share with us a premium A-grade pallet. Now, these are mostly used by retailers where they may be setting out on the floor, displaying product, things like that. Kind of the cleanest pallet. We typically have 7 boards on top, 5 boards on the bottom, 6-inch lead boards on both the top and bottom, usually with 3 stringers, and 4-way entry. No block or metal repairs to the stringers would be allowed, and no colored or painted stringers. A regular grade A pallet. A grade A pallet, they're more readily available, but of course we're going to have a little bit more worn appearance than the premium grade A. The specs on a A grade are more consistent than on the B grade pallet, and will never really have any kind of block repairs to the stringers. The overall appearance is also better than an A grade pallet, likely has had fewer cycles than a B grade. They're going to look a little bit more worn, but they'll have 7 boards on top, still 5 boards on the bottom, 3 stringers, and of course they're going to be 4-way entry as well. And like I just said, you can't have any blocked repairs to the stringers. Each stringer can have 1 repair plate to strengthen, any splits that might be in the wood. And that's that little metal plate where you see they cover the split and put nails into it. Then we have the B grade pallet. B grades are considerably less expensive than A grades and are usually used primarily for warehousing or shipping where it is likely the pallet will not be coming back. Now they're going to have somewhere between 6 to 7 boards on top, really depending on the board's width. They'll have no less than 4 boards on the bottom. They'll still have 3 stringers and 4-way entry, but they can have some repairs on the stringers and can really be various lengths and heights of the wood also if they have to replace the originals. And they can have no more than 2 boards, thick at any one point. Now you're going to see some chips and partial split boards, and those are going to be acceptable for that grade. And then we have the premium B grade pallet, the perfect fit between a standard A and a standard B. This cost-saving pallet will have fewer transfer cycles than a standard B, and as a result will likely have fewer markings or chips or maybe cracks, not going to show quite the wear and tear damage. Now they'll pretty much be the same as a standard B grade, but with only one of the 3 stringers having a plug or any other type of repair. And they can have multiple repairs on the same stringer. And just kind of a side note or opinion of mine, never trust an aging pine pallet. I myself avoid pine pallets at all costs. Hey, but that's just me. All of our warehousing jobs deal with pallets. I feel it's everyone's responsibility to kind of be on the lookout for bad wood. That broken pallet that could end up hurting somebody. As unloaders, we need to be grabbing good solid wood to stack our product on. Being a receiver, we need to not only be looking over the product for correct counts and SUPC codes, but verifying that the pallets are clean and in good condition to store them in our warehouse. Us as pallet runners need to be careful not to break the boards as we're running under them to carry them to our drop-off point. A broken board is going to weaken the stability of the pallet. And talk about responsibility, being a forklift driver, we're the last avenue of defense regarding the condition of the pallet that we're about to place in a rack 20 feet in the air. I feel like even our sanitation departments are going to be dealing with pallets. If not moving them around, we'll still be seeing them, and we should speak up when we see a weakened, broken, or dirty pallet. All in all, it's about protecting and watching out for each other and our friends. Now today I've added the URLs to all the research pages that I visited in today's show notes. If you have a few minutes, check them out. I found all of them really interesting. And if you enjoyed today's show, share it with a friend or someone at work. We'd like to hear from you too. Send us a comment or a topic that you'd like us to look up for you to host at warehouseandoperationsasacareer.com. Another way to start conversations or get some answers is visit our feeds on Facebook and Twitter. You can find us using that little @ WHSEANDOPS on both of them. And we cruise the Facebook Warehouse Equipment Operators community group on most days as well. We look forward to you checking in with us again next week. Until then, please be safe, talk safety, and let's all remember, we have family members counting on our return each day.